and you're getting a proper double cream ride quality day bike for an absolute bargain price. My name's Kesteven. I've been a professional bike reviewer for nearly 25 years. Today, I'm heading out into the Yorkshire Dales on Planet X's super value titanium all-weather all-rounder, the Hurricane. So what you gain here with the Hurricane? It's a stablemate of the Spitfire, the racier, lower, steeper angled model. So you've got a 72-degree head angle, 145mm head tube on this medium. So it's a little bit slacker and a little bit taller. The actual frame weight is only slightly heavier, less than 100 grams in it. And that's despite the fact that this Hurricane comes with rack and mudguard mounts, clearance for 30mm tyres, and it's a disc brake bike. So there's a little bit more weight in the fork. That Selkoff full carbon fork, just under 500 grams, just to cope with the braking loads at the fork tips. But overall, still comes in at a respectable kind of carbon competitive 9.4 kilos for this medium surround force 22 bike. But it's the ride quality of this triple butted titanium frame that really separates it out from plastic and most steel bikes, to be honest. Such a quiet bike. It's like you're riding with noise cancelling headphones in. Just really smooth, stealthy. Makes the road surface feel like absolute glass. This reminds me of that Galaxy chocolate advert. You know, why have cotton when you can have silk? Especially at the price that Planet X are charging for these bikes. Why wouldn't you go for that lighter weight and more kind of resilient spring of titanium over steel? Because when you do lift up, it's got a really nice purpose to it. What it really reminds me of is a bike with elliptical chain rings on, so it's not super stabby or snappy through the pedals. It takes a little bit of the nose off your power first in the stroke, but then it just smoothly kind of lays it back down onto the road. And it's just a gorgeous kind of rouleurs bike for just rolling out tempo. Loves a steady, sustained climb. You're just coming in and out of the saddle to keep that rhythm going. And it certainly doesn't feel like your watts are being wasted. And these mile munchers, for a tough and grippy tyre, A, they're light, under 300 grams. Also, they roll okay. I mean, they're quiet, rather than obviously quick, but all said and done, a really good match for the bike. And if a bike that feels super sure-footed through corners or up slippery climbs and can take a reasonably big tyre and still fit mudguards in and won't rust, isn't a perfect match for like British, well, let's face it, year-round riding, I really don't know what is. And while that kind of quietly sprung, damped but dynamic ride feel is exactly what you want from a titanium bike, it's definitely not guaranteed. You have to be quite careful with how you work it. And it's really easy to overwork the material and end up with something quite brittle that's going to tear itself apart, or something that's too stiff and you might as well just go for an alloy bike. But then Planet X have been building tyre bikes for decades and they've just kind of hit the sweet spot, really. Dave's showing off with a slightly lighter Spitfire there. But like I say, just locks it down enough so it's a real hands in the middle of the bars puller, this bike. Proper steady gear smoother. Really is a lovely bike for these kind of conditions. And it's interesting swapping backwards and forwards with Dave between these two bikes, Spitfire there and the Hurricane I'm on. As soon as it gets rougher, this really comes into its own in terms of sustaining that speed, keeping the cadence more even. Whereas the Spitfire with the smaller tyres and obviously higher pressures in them just gets knocked about a bit more. You know, again, Dave's on the Spitfire there, the racier bike, and I've got to get lower in my drops to match the lower, you know, more aero position he's got. But this is actually a longer bike, medium for medium, and just the confidence of having those discs and a little bit more rubber on the road just means a huge amount. And the front to rear feeling of the Falcon frame is just really nicely balanced. If anything, the fork's a little bit sharper than the back end, but that just gives you tons of feedback to play with without skipping and bouncing all over the place, even when you're braking pretty hard. So you might lose a little bit of time on the climbs with that little bit of extra weight, but you're certainly making it up on descents. And the more slippery and technical they are, the more this bike likes it. And while the frames are built in the Far East, the bikes are designed in Rotherham, and they're built into complete bikes in Rotherham at Planet X HQ. You can have it in Shimano spec or SRAM spec, or just build a completely custom bike yourself using the frame and forks, or, you know, Planet X's bike building options. Because even on the standard bikes, you can tick all sorts of different boxes to tune the contact points and details like that. So if you're finding the saddle a bit aggressive, like I am, it's no problem at all to switch it out. And while it's a perfectly serviceable set of finishing kit, certainly for the money, this bike's only going to get better if you upgrade it with, you know, lighter wheels, lighter post, bars and stem. And the frame quality is definitely worth it. And the extra confidence that comes from having those powerful SRAM disc brakes and that extra bit of road connection through that really smooth frame and the slightly larger volume tyres really does make such a difference, whether you're bombing down back roads or just commuting in through heavy traffic. Just makes this such a versatile, all season, all reason road bike. So you've seen me flying around the Dales and the back roads with Dave on the Spitfire on this Hurricane, and I've kind of covered off all the sort of geometry and handling characteristics. So let's just have a look at the up close frame details. So this is the newest titanium bike in the Planet X range. So you get this hourglass head tube there with this fully flush fit fork bearing there. It's not an external bearing, even though it's a tapered fork. It does mean you don't get a head badge, but it is a really sleek looking bike there. I mean, detailing is laser etched. You can just make out the Hurricane name there, and then you've got this Planet X polished panel. So really durable, really stylish, kind of subtle way of putting the logos on there. And because it's part of the Tempest and Spitfire sort of World War II fighter series, you're getting these invasion rings. It's a relatively large diameter seat post, 31.6, and so it's surprising it rides as smoothly as it does. One thing I would maybe consider is that's a pretty narrow saddle, so I'd maybe swap that out in the bike builder options. But as you can see, you've got rack mounts there, you've got mudguard mounts on this A-frame stay here, you've got a neat little seat clamp there with a replaceable receiver for the bolt, so you know, you're not going to, if you do strip it out, you can easily replace that barrel on there. Down here you've got separate mudguard and rack mounts, keeping them nicely out of the way. It's a flat mount brake on the far side, so again that's out of the way of the rack and any luggage you put on there. You've got, oh, wipe the grease off there, you've got this really neat terminal there for the 142 by 12mm axle. You know, sits into this little tooth receiver there, and it's a fully replaceable derailleur hanger, so that's actually a real, I've not even noticed that before, to be honest. That's a super nice bit of detail in there. And then you've got this SRAM, this is Force 22, so wide range transmission on this, but you can get it in Shimano as well. You've got Fulcrum Racing rims on there, and these Jack Brown mile muncher tyres. So it's a 30mm tyre, it's actually 29mm wide and about 27mm deep, but it's Panaracer made, so you've got this super grippy ZSG compound with this little bit of detail in it. Been really impressed with how connected and confident these tyres feel, and they just really suit the bike in the way they ride. And also that skin wall just looks really slick with this titanium frame. Up front you've got this Selkoff disc brake fork. It's 490 gram fork, straight bladed. Again, loads of space for large tyres through there, and it's got fixed mudguards down there as well. Only thing that's, you know, maybe looks a bit agricultural is this mount here for the front mech. It's just a clamp-on mount, but you do get a SRAM chain catcher on there. And also, obviously, if you're running single ring, the frame's going to look a lot neater. And there's your little aerospace titanium badge on there. And there's just it rides really nicely with these triple butted main tubes. And there's just a very slight, subtle bit of ovalizing there on the head tube end, and then slightly more down at the bottom bracket there, where it just goes a little bit more horizontal to support that BB when you're putting the power through. It's external gear cables with the barrel adjusters there, but as you can see, the disc brake hose goes into this little port here, and if we just turn it around, you can see it pops out here, and then it's external back into the brake there. But it's a really neat flat mount disc brake mount on there with these 160mm rotors, so plenty of power. And again, just really nice detailing on that drop out there. You know, it's a fairly chunky piece, but you got the cowl round there for a big weld area with the seat stays, and then that little sort of kidney cutout to save a bit of weight. And it's threaded bottom bracket, as you'd hope, for durability and easy servicing. And as you can see, you know, these exits for the brake hose, little metal inserts there, keeping them tidy, and again, mudguard mount on the Ace Stay bridge there. And again, up front, you've got a flat mount for the disc brake and this Selkoff 12 by 100mm through axle on the front. So loads of wheel security, and just, as you can see, it's just a really nice, classy looking frame. Just, if you've already watched the ride review, you know, can't fault it on that. Proper double cream day bike. That's handy in all, you know, that's happy in all sorts of situations, whatever the weather, whether you're going up, down, along, or even a bit of rough stuffing. Really impressed by what this can handle before you even think about the price. So that's the quick tech talk around at the end. Just like to say thanks to you guys for watching. Thanks very much for Planet X for supporting this series of videos. Thanks to them for the Karnak helmet and the Karnak gloves, and the rest of the kit is Gore, and then Spats, keeping me feet lovely and warm and dry, even though we've been splashing through puddles today. So if you like what I'm doing, have a look on Patreon, where you can sponsor the channel as well, and that'll get you more insights and background information and occasional bit of merch. And thanks massively to these guys who already are my sponsors. Otherwise, make sure you click for notifications, share this video, tell people about the channel. Let's keep it growing, and hopefully see you for the next one. I've been Guy Kesteven, this has been Guy Kes TV, and that is Planet X's super value titanium disc all-road all-rounder, the Hurricane.